we are about to introduce the founder of the event, the brains behind the event, the motivation behind the event, Mr. Leon Marshall. Mr. Leon Marshall is a sports science lecturer at this very university, South Bank University, and he's the founder of Hidden Science Academy. He is also the editor of the first black-owned fitness magazine, FT UK. Can we please give a big round of applause for Leon Marshall?
Yes, one. Can everyone hear me? All right, welcome everyone. Such a great turnout. It just goes to show how important we all believe this subject to be, right? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, now before I start, I'd like to big up the host, the talented, super talented, amazing Leah Salmon. Please give it up for Leah Salmon. I'd also like to big up the official media partners for the Hidden Science Academy. You've seen them around. Got Kush TV. Big them up, please. All right, so this event is being recorded by Got Kush TV. So there are signs that say, please, no audio or video recording, so please respect that. This will be content on the Hidden Science Academy website. So once you become a member, you'll be able to watch this in its entirety on our website. Now, with that being said, please, no recordings of any kind. There's going to be a lot of information. I'm going to be covering melanin and electricity. So there's a lot of information that I'm going to be covering. Now, with that being said, I suggest that you guys take notes and ask questions. Yeah? Take notes and ask questions. Now, you can take pictures of certain slides, but I'd suggest that you take notes and ask questions, because if you just have your phone out and you're taking pictures of certain slides, then certain things won't go in, yeah? I want you guys to listen to this and take it in, absorb it, and again, if you're a Hidden Science Academy member, you can rewatch it on our website. All right. Now, with that being said, if anyone is, because we are recording and there is CCTV cameras in here as well, if anyone is caught doing audio or video recordings, you'll just be banned by you'll just be banned for life by Hidden Science Academy, and you won't be able to attend any of our upcoming events. And trust me, you don't want to get banned, because this is what we've got coming up. In 2 weeks' time, right here, same venue, we've got an event called The Hidden Science of Black Holistic Health in Black Panther. So we're going to be breaking down the hidden science, the hidden truths in that movie. There's a lot of hidden truths with regards to science, spirituality, nutrition, and optimal well-being in this movie. We break that down in 2 weeks' time. And for the people who stay to the end of this lecture, I've got an offer for everyone in here with regards to this event. Another event that's coming up is the hidden science of the ancient pyramids. So we're going to go into that, because there's a lot of confusion around the ancient pyramids, like how were they built? Why were they built? Who built them? And what were they used for? We're going to go over all of that in that event. And this is a very important one for anyone who has children. This event is coming up. It's called The Hidden Science of Social Media. We all seem to be addicted to our phones. So my phone is right here. We all seem to be addicted to this thing. Do you know that these companies spend millions on research, scientific research, to find out as much information as they can about addiction, just so they can create these products so we become addicted to them. So if you have children, that is going to be very, very important for you to attend. And then lastly, this is probably going to be my favorite one, up and coming event, the hidden science of black music. We're going into that one, all right? So if you want to stay up to date with all of these things, and make sure you're notified straight away when we're doing these events, all you need to do is log on to our website, www.thehiddenscienceacademy.com, fill in the online form, and you'll be notified anytime we're doing any of these events here. All right, so let's start the presentation. Now, to become a member, you have to complete one of our courses. And for those of you who have the goodie bags, you'll have My Fitness magazine in there, and you'll have The Hidden Science of Black Holistic Health, which is my course in there. You complete that course and you become a Hidden Science Academy member. That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah, there's some previous members in here already, so they're already members. You can speak to them about their experience on the course. All right. Now, as this presentation will focus heavily on the science of black hair, it makes sense to start with a definition of science that is easy to understand. So here's my definition of science. Science is logic backed up by evidence. So science is simply common sense, and then you just back it up with evidence. So if I said 2 + 2, I'm hoping everyone would say 4, because that's common sense. But for it to be a scientific fact, we need proof. So I can't just go around saying 2 + 2 = 4. I have to get evidence. So I'd ask you, what did you get? 4. You at the back, 2 + 2, 4. 2 + 2, 6. All right, prove it. Put 2 fingers on one hand, 2 fingers on the other, and then count them. Oh, 4? All right. That's how science works. That's all science is, yeah? It's logic or common sense, and you have to back it up with evidence. So this is why, once you start to realize this is all science is, you'll start to realize that science is simple. But a lot of us don't think that. A lot of us leave school scratching our heads when it comes to science. We hate science. We don't like chemistry, don't like biology, don't like physics. Why is this? Why is science so confusing? Because a wise man once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Yeah? I'd go one step further. I'd say if you can't explain it simply, it means you don't understand it well enough, or you don't want me to know. So you do understand it well, but you're trying to confuse me. Yeah? It's one or the other. All right? So I am going to be breaking down the science of hair in a very, very simplified way so that everyone can understand. Now I know what you're thinking. Hold on a second. You're going to be teaching me. I'm going to learn the science of health or the science of hair from someone who has none. Yes. That's exactly what's going to happen. Because a wise man also once said, you're going to learn today. You're going to learn today. All right. So what are you going to learn today? This is what we're going through. So you can take a picture of this if you want. We're going to learn about the true science of melanin. Once and for all, let's find out what this thing is all about. You're going to learn about electromagnetism and how it links to melanin. You're going to learn about how hair can act as antennas. We're going to learn about male pattern baldness and why it happens. Where's the men in here? Any men? 1, 2. All right, 1, 2. All right, you two, you're going to learn about male pattern baldness. To be fair, male pattern baldness is just pattern baldness. It happens to men and women, so you'll find that out. But anytime men or women start to lose their hair, they always tell us it's DHT. It's DHT. That's the reason why you're losing your hair. Well, we're going to try and see if there's any logic and evidence behind that today. And then lastly, we're going to talk about hormonal imbalances and how that impacts the hair loss. All right? So are you ready for this presentation? All right, so let's get going. Now, before we go forward, we need to go back. Yeah? In order to know where we're going, we need to know where we came from. So, instead of me standing up here and telling you about the history of black hair, I've got a very short video that I want you guys to watch, and it's going to go through a brief history of black hair.
The history of black hair, our history. The history behind all elaborate designs and hairstyles originated in different ethnic groups in Africa. The first known example of dreadlocks date back to ancient Egypt, where dreadlocks appeared on many artifacts. Ancient Egyptians with dreadlocks have also been recovered from archaeological sites. Socially, hair grooming played a significant part in status and identity in African tribes. It was a way to identify someone's social status based on ethnicity, social rank, age, marital status, wealth, fertility, manhood, religion, and death. Twisting, braiding, cotton or wool thread weaving, adding animal fat or mud and clay were all techniques used to create these elaborate looks. Due to styling taking hours and sometimes days, much like today, women use this time of beautifying as a chance to socialize and form meaningful bonds with one another. In 1444, Europeans began to kidnap Africans of all social statuses and trade them on the west coast of Africa. Many wore elaborate hairstyles. Although the Europeans were first entranced with and admired the complexity of style, texture, and adornment of black hair, something had to be done to rid them of their identity to maintain control and dependency. Many slave owners shaved not only the men's hair but women's hair as well. This was considered an unspeakable crime to many tribes. In 1619, the first slaves were brought to Jamestown. After being on a ship for 3 months in unbearable conditions where hygiene, let alone hair care maintenance, couldn't be maintained, many of the enslaved Africans' hair was matted upon arrival. The enslaved Africans were no longer allowed to speak their native languages, do traditional dances, and maintain their hair in the styles that they chose. All of the African culture and grooming traditions began to disappear. Slave owners wanted to cut off the enslaved Africans' connection to their true self. They pushed their standard of beauty, fair skin, straight hair, and thin facial features. African dark skin, kinky hair, and wider facial features were deemed unattractive. Because of this, lighter skin, straight hair slaves commanded higher prices at auction. Due to brainwashing and internalizing color consciousness, many blacks promoted the idea that dark skin and kinky hair were less attractive and worth less. The enslaved Africans were given no way to care for their hair. In the 1800s, without combs and the herbal treatments used in Africa, they were forced to use bacon grease, butter, kerosene, and sheep brushes to maintain their hair.
Alright, so I'm hoping that you guys caught that, but they said at the end of that clip, can everyone hear me? Yeah. Alright, because there's a mic here, and then I've got my hands free, so I'm going to stay here. They said at the end of that clip that they created laws so black women had to cover up their hairstyles, yeah? Because their hairstyles were gathering too much, attention from the slave owners and the jealousy from the slave owners' wife. So they had to cover up their hair as law. Not only that, there was another reason why they had to cover up their hair. Because historians have noted that they used to use their hair as an escape map from slavery. Can you imagine? So they used to put messages in their hair. Messages in their hair. Escape routes they used to put in their hair. Yeah? So you're on the plantation and you look at someone's head and you're like, oh, it's going down tonight. That's what they were doing back then. Yeah? And then once the slave owners caught it on, they either cut off all the hair or created these laws. Yeah? So when black women were required by law to cover their hair, this was the 1700s. They call it the Tignon laws, so you guys can write that down and do your own research. Tignon laws forced black women in Louisiana to wear head wraps because their beautiful, elaborate hairstyles were considered a threat to the status quo. That was in the 1700s. So my question to everyone in here is, what's changed since then? Because that was then, this is now. And you see stories like this all the time. Yeah? Black women are not allowed to wear their natural hair at work. Because it's unprofessional. It doesn't look good. It's unprofessional. Oh, your hair's a threat. No, you have to change it. Sorry. Or cover it up. Yeah? And it's not just black women that are getting this. and cut off your dreadlocks. They're dreadful. Yeah? It's dreadful. No, we don't like the way it looks. Absolutely out of order. So my thing is, what is so threatening about natural black hair? What is so threatening about it? And does it have anything to do with this? Now, in order to understand or answer that question, you need to know what this is first. Yeah? Now, instead of me standing up here and telling you how amazing melanin is, and how I love my melanin, yeah? That wouldn't be science. Because now you know what science is. Science is logic backed up by evidence. So instead of me telling you what it is, I'm going to show you 4 scientists who have done the evidence, done the research with regards to melanin. Yeah? They've broken down the research. They've done so much research, they've either written a book or they've written various articles on melanin. So this is where you guys take your notes. You can look these guys up. Right? So the first scientist that I'm going to show you, his name is Dr. Timothy Moore. He wrote a book called The Science and the Myths of Melanin. You guys can look that up. The Science and the Myths of Melanin. What did he say about melanin? What is melanin? He said, it's the biology of blackness. That means if you're talking about biology and you're not talking about melanin, you don't understand biology well enough. Or, you do. You just don't want me to know. Okay. Yeah. So it's either they don't understand melanin or biology. Best without it. No, but it's not picking you up. All right, I'm gonna go over there. All right. All right. So this is what he said about melanin. He said, in humans, melanin is the primary determinant of skin and hair color. It has genetic, biochemical, and functional links to the immune system. It neutralizes oxidants and antimicrobial drugs. So it's an antioxidant. He said, now check this out, he said that it's found in almost every organ of the body. One. Okay. He said it's found in almost every organ of the body and is necessary for the brain and nerves to operate, the eyes to see, and the cells to reproduce. It's also found in the stria vascularis of the inner ear. So we've got melanin in our ear as well. It helps to repair DNA in body cells. It can absorb, now this one's crazy. It can absorb and convert various forms of electromagnetic energy. Really? If that's the truth, why are they not teaching this in schools? Yeah? And he also said there are many types of melanin. There's cosmomelanin. Now, if you listen to most scientists, they'll tell you that the universe is 70% dark matter, dark energy, that mysterious black thing in the sky that we don't know. It's melanin. Okay. So, according to Dr. Timothy Moore, that's cosmomelanin. Then there's something called eumelanin, pheomelanin, and even neuromelanin. That's melanin in your brain. Yeah. In the brain of just black people? No. In the brain of everyone. Neuromelanin is found in the brain of everyone. All right. But again, science is logic plus evidence. So that's just one scientist. We can't just go by what one scientist said. This guy, his name is Dr. Karl Marret. Karlmaret. So you can look him up. He's actually got a YouTube video where he talks about melanin. Very popular YouTube video. What did he say about melanin? He said, it's the chemical key to life. Wow. The chemical key to life. It has a broad absorption spectrum. It absorbs thousands of times more electromagnetic radiation than chlorophyll. Now, if you know chlorophyll, chlorophyll is the green pigment in plants that absorb sunlight. According to Dr. Karl Marret, melanin can absorb thousands of times more electromagnetic radiation, photons. Anytime you see that word, we're dealing with light. Photons, photo, that's light. It can do more than chlorophyll. He said it exists in many tissues beside the skin, so he's agreeing with Dr. Timothy Moore. He said it's present in the developing fetus. Not only that, he says that if it's not present, or it's not present enough, that's when you lose the baby. That's how important melanin is to life. It's thought to be a master molecule for steering biological processes in the body, and it's a master converter of energies. So Dr. Timothy Moore said that it can absorb light and convert that into electricity. Dr. Carl Merritt said it can do more than that. He said it can absorb sound and convert that into heat. It can absorb heat and convert that into sound. It can absorb light and convert that into electricity. Again, if this is true, why don't they teach this in schools? All right, now anytime I'm speaking about science, I try to use children's websites, because I believe that if you go to a children's website, they should be explaining science in a simplified way. So this children's website is called Bite Size. What do they say electricity is? Electricity is the presence or flow of charged particles. An electric current is the flow of electrons around a circuit. And then they also say that static electricity is the buildup of electrons on an insulator. So to summarize that, electricity is simply the flow of electrons, right? Keep that in mind. Electricity is the flow of electrons. Now, this is the electromagnetic spectrum. Anytime you hear the word EMF or electromagnetic spectrum, this is what we're talking about. Now, instead of me telling you everything that you need to know about this, just from everyone having a phone, you know a little bit about electricity. So, electricity powers everything that's in here. It's powering the projector. It's powering our phones. It's powering this laptop. It's powering this computer. So, a couple things that you know about electricity straight off. With electricity comes what? Power. Light. All right. So, you can't separate electricity and light. With electricity comes light. If I keep this on for too long, what happens? Gets hot. So, electricity comes with light, and electricity comes with heat. You can't separate electricity from light and heat. And also, anytime my phone rings, what happens? It vibrates. So, you can't separate electricity from light, heat, and vibrations. And if something is vibrating, it's making a sound. Yeah? So that means when we look at this, these are low vibrational frequencies, these are high vibrational frequencies. We're looking at light, heat, vibrations, sound, yeah? Now when it comes to light, we can't see radio waves. We can't see infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray or gamma rays. We just see what they call the visible spectrum, which is the light that we see. They call it Roy G. Biv. They taught us that in school. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? Now, chlorophyll can absorb part of this spectrum. Guess what melanin can absorb? The whole spectrum. The whole spectrum. All right, another scientist, his name is Dr. Richard King. Dr. Richard King, he wrote a book called Melanin, A Key to Freedom. He said there are 4 major broad subgroups of melanin. Cosmic melanin, planetary melanin, plant kingdom melanin, and animal kingdom melanin. He said it's found throughout the entire body of all humans, in their skin, eyes, endocrine glands, blood, heart, muscles, lungs, gastrointestinal tract, kidneys, sexual organs, and the brain, all over the body. Melanin in the brain is called neuromelanin, and there's a part in the brain that's called substantia nigra. It controls our movement. Now just look at that word there. That's a scientific term, substantia nigra. What does substantia mean? Substance. What does nigra or nigra mean? Black. So there's a black substance in everyone's brain that controls our movement. Who knew that? Why don't we know this? And then he says, melanin is critical to hearing. African people hear a wider range of sound than Europeans, in particular, the low bass sounds. Any evidence of that? The hidden science of black music is coming soon. That's all I'm saying. All right. Last scientist. This guy, his name is William Montagna, and he wrote a book alongside another doctor called Paul Paracal. They wrote a book called The Structure and Function of Skin. What did they say about melanin? They said it's a powerful antioxidant, anti-aging chemical, and protects the skin from damaging ultraviolet radiation. It's a DNA repairer and photoreceptor. It can absorb photons, which is light, and convert them into electrons, which is electricity. It is induced by solar exposure and is dependent on the amino acid tyrosine, and it is the primary determinant of hair and skin color in all humans. However, he says, there are two types of hair and skin, or hair and skin melanin. Now again, this is scientific research. The two types of hair and skin are eumelanin and pheomelanin. Eumelanin is black and brown. Again, we're talking about hair and skin. And pheomelanin is red and yellow. So if you have someone who's a redhead or ginger, they've got more pheomelanin. Blonde, that's more pheomelanin. If your hair is black or brown, that's more eumelanin. Same with your skin as well. Those are the two types of skin melanin. But remember, every scientist said that melanin is not just in the skin. It's in pretty much every organ in the body. Yeah? All right. So when it comes to hair acting as an antenna, if your hair can absorb electromagnetic waves and pick up these frequencies, according to these scientists, then surely your hair can act as an antenna. It could pick up messages from the universe. Is there any evidence of this? Well, during the Vietnam War, and again, you guys can look this up, the government conducted studies to see who the top recruits were. These studies were based on the recruits' intuition, tracking abilities, and survival skills. From their research, they found the American Indians, all of whom had long hair, to be the best performers in a wide variety of skills. However, after receiving their required military haircuts, they repeatedly expressed that they could no longer sense the enemy. They started to underperform on military tasks they exceeded at before. This is all documented. Now, my business is called the Hidden Science Academy, so I try and decode and demystify all the mysteries that are out there, yeah, including melanin, all right? So with that being said, I've found by doing a lot of research with regards to the truth that they tend to hide the truth where? Where do they hide the truth? In plain sight. That's where they hide the truth, yeah? So, is this true? Well, who remembers this? Who saw the trailer for Infinity Wars? You see that? So his hair stood on end, and then he sensed the enemy. So they're literally telling you about yourself in these movies, right? That's the best way to hide the truth, in plain sight. And it makes you wonder then, why, when they go into the military, they tell them to cut off all their hair? Why? If hair is not important, why do you have to cut it off when you're being trained to kill someone? Why is it a necessity that you cut off all your hair when you're going into intense training? And it's not just in the military, yeah? The Shaolin monks do it as well, the Buddhist monks. Again, they're going into training, so they cut off all their hair. They cut off all of their sensory abilities. Why, if hair is not important? And it's not like they're going bald. A lot of these monks are teenagers, so we can't say, oh yeah, no, it's because they're going bald. Speaking of going bald, this is for my two guys in here. This is male pattern baldness, yeah? Now what you'll find, it doesn't matter what type you are, you tend to lose hair in the same areas, but you never, it doesn't matter who you are, you never lose hair around here. Why is that? Around here, look. So you lose it at your temples. Your temples are here. You tend to not lose your hair around this side. Very simple. Again, what did I say? Science is simple. Very simple to understand. That part of your scalp has a good blood supply. It's as simple as that. Yeah? So these blood vessels feed that part of your head, so that part will never or hardly ever lose its hair. You lose hair everywhere else. Yeah? Very simple to understand. It happens to everyone, including women. So as long as you've got a good blood supply, so blood is carrying what? Oxygen, nutrients, water, everything that your hair follicle needs to grow. This is what's carrying it. Yeah? Now what attracts the oxygen? What is in the core of these blood vessels? Anyone know? Hemoglobin, iron, yes. So iron is in the core of these blood cells. So red blood cells have an iron core. Just remember that. Red blood cells have an iron core. Now, when it comes to blood circulation, circulation to the scalp is a luxury. You know why? Because your heart has to pump blood to everywhere else before it pumps blood to your scalp. Yeah? It's like a system that it sticks to. What's more important, the liver or the hair cells? Liver, pump blood that way. What's more important, the kidneys or your hair cells? The kidneys, pump blood that way, not that way. Yeah? So this is a luxury. And as these blood vessels move further away from the heart, they get thinner and thinner. And also, stress hormones can make them thinner and thinner as well. So stress hormones constrict blood flow. A stress hormone like cortisol will constrict these blood vessels and make it harder for nutrients, oxygen, and whatever else the follicle needs to get up to this area. That's for men and women. So when I talk about male pattern baldness, I'm talking about everyone here. Yeah? So, look at a blood vessel. Look how thick this one is, but it's filled with stuff. What's this? Cholesterol, it could be plaque, it could be inflammation, whatever it is, it's restricting the blood flow. So you've got a thick blood vessel, but not enough blood getting through. That's the thick one. What if it was happening on this one? Or this one? Or this one? Yeah? Now keep that in mind when I show you this. This is a close-up of a hair follicle. Now just think about the scale here. Think about just one strand of your hair. Pick out one strand. That's that, yeah? And look at the blood vessels that feed that one strand of hair. Look how small they are. So it's very easy for these blood vessels to get clogged up with fat, cholesterol, any other inflammation that you've got going on, EDCs, your chemicals, all will damage that. So it's all about getting the nutrients in here. Look how thin they are compared to the hair strand. Now, is DHT testosterone the problem? Anytime we start to lose our hair, they say that DHT is the problem. They do studies to see what's going on the scalp, and they see a high level of DHT. Does everyone know what DHT is? It stands for dihydrotestosterone. So it's just a byproduct of testosterone. Yeah, so DHT, just think testosterone. Yeah? Is it good or bad? Well, it's a hormone. That's a good question. Now, anything that's in your body has a purpose, true or false? All right, so if a hormone is being released in your body, is it good or bad? Has a purpose. So it's just trying to figure out what the purpose is. It's not about it being bad, though. Someone said growth. DHT in every other part of your body induces growth, hair growth. So hairs on your chest, hairs on other parts of your body, guys, that's DHT, yeah? But for some reason, it causes hair loss on the scalp. Let's see if that's true, because science is logic backed up by evidence. Now, if it was DHT, scientists tell us that people from an African descent have higher levels of what? Testosterone. So if this was the problem, who should be losing their hair the most around the world? Africans, black people, yeah? But what you find is that this is one test that I could pick out of millions This showed, a scientific study showed that mean testosterone levels in blacks were 19% higher than whites, and free testosterone levels were 21% higher. So every test that they do shows that black people or people from an African descent have higher testosterone levels, but yet you see stories like this. So this was from the Express. This was last year, and what did they say? Hair loss hotspots. So they did their research, went round the world and tried to find where the hotspots were for hair loss. So again, if DHT is the problem, where are you going to see most of the hair loss? Africa, okay. So hair loss is much more common in certain areas of the globe. Male pattern balding seems to be concentrated in some countries much more than others, due to the fact that genetics predict the condition, and Britain is one of them. Surprise, surprise. All right, so let's take a look at what they said. They said baldness is most common in the Czech Republic, with almost half these men going bald at 42%. The UK is 5th with 39%. Spain is 2nd, Germany, France, and then after UK is the US, Italy, Poland, Netherlands, Russia, and Canada. What do all of those countries have in common? Europeans, all right. So just like it says here. So it seems, again, this is not my opinion, this is science. It seems that Europeans are the most likely to go bald of all. Yeah? And it also says, according to a study called the psychological effect, approximately 30% of white men are affected by age 30. At least 50% by age 50, and at least 80% by age 70. There you go, right? There you go. And just to hit home with this point, here's a visual. This is World Hair Loss Map. The darker shaded areas are where people lose their hair the most and the quickest, and the lighter shaded areas is when they lose the least, yeah? So as you can see, Europe seems to be a problem. North Africa, a little bit of a problem, but I'll make you do 2 + 2 there. You can work that one out, yeah? And then, this one seems to be quite dark. What's this? Australia. Again, 2 + 2. You'll be able to work that one out as well, all right? So that's hair loss. So when it comes to trying to keep your hair, it's all about balancing your hormones, not just for women, for men as well. Now, this is the endocrine system. These are your glands. Each one of these glands secretes a hormone. Each one of those hormones gives your cells instructions. So the pituitary gland, very important for releasing a hormone called MSH, which stands for melanocyte stimulating hormone. That is what stimulates the melanocytes to produce melanin. So that one's very important. Your thyroid gland, what does that do? That controls your metabolism, yeah? Your parathyroid gland controls calcium. Adrenal glands, we know about the fight or flight, adrenaline, yeah? Your pancreas, that controls insulin levels, like your glucose and that sort of stuff. And then your ovaries and your testes is your sex hormones, yeah? So all of these are important. If any of them are out of balance, you'll start to suffer from inflammation, and that inflammation will clog up those hair follicles, leading to hair loss. So this is a visual, just so you understand. Testosterone has to be balanced out with estrogen. Now, both men and women have testosterone and estrogen. Obviously, men have more testosterone, women have more estrogen. However, we both need to balance it out. So if in men, if you have too much estrogen and not enough testosterone, that's going to lead to health issues, including hair loss. In women, if you have too much or too little estrogen and too much testosterone, or even too little testosterone, that's going to lead to hair issues, health issues, and all the sorts, all right? So, what is the solution? Let's say we do have too much estrogen as a guy, or too much DHT. What do they tell us to do? Well, they'll give us a pill to block it. Think that's a good idea? Shall we just block it? You've got high levels of DHT. Just take this and block it. Is that a good idea? Yeah? This is a US brand, and then we've got a UK brand here as well. Look at this, Alpha Block. Alpha Block, yeah? Because they understand what DHT does. DHT, testosterone, is what makes men men. Yeah? Do I have to spell it out? There's kids in here, yeah? But it helps the guy, you know. what I'm saying? So, what do they tell us to do? They say to us, oh, you got high DHT, let's block it. And then all of a sudden you might get a couple strands of hair come through. You're like, look, my hair's growing back, my hair's growing back. Nothing's going on down there, but my hair's growing back. So is it a good idea to block? Now, anytime I'm talking about science, I like to talk about it in a very simple way, and I use analogies of real life to explain science. Because remember, if you don't understand it simply, or if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So I'm going to use this analogy. Now, some of us come from similar backgrounds, so I'm sure you might be able to relate to this. Now, when I was young, my mum used to beat me if I did something wrong. She'd give me licks with her hand, or her belt, or anything else she could have. Anything else, what? A hanger, yeah? Whatever, yeah? Now, let's just think for a second. If she's going to give me a lick, and I block the lick. Not today, Mum. Did I just make that situation 10 times better, or 10 times worse? Right. I just made that situation 10 times worse. Can you imagine if my mum went to lick me with the belt, and I grabbed the belt? Or she got to lick me, and I grab it and twist my arm around it, like, ain't happening today, yeah? My mom. If I would have ever did that, my mom would have been like, so blocking is never a good idea. Blocking something that's naturally supposed to happen. Your body's releasing DHT to balance out all of that estrogen that you've got in your body. It's releasing it for a reason, and then you go and block the DHT. Blocking what's naturally supposed to happen. Just like me when I was younger, even if DHT is a problem, if it's getting released naturally, hold them licks. Hold them. You're supposed to. What you're supposed to do is learn from that and understand why DHT is being released. Yeah? And it's about inflammation. That's why it's being released. And this is when we have to understand how important science is, because they'll block cholesterol. A lot of us suffer from high cholesterol, and they'll give us statin drugs. They'll give us things to block cholesterol. But you know that cholesterol is the precursor to vitamin D. Every black person in there needs vitamin D to stay alive. Like that's literally our #1 nutrient. So if you take cholesterol or cholesterol blockers, and it blocks cholesterol from being released from the liver, and cholesterol is the precursor, in other words, it gets converted into vitamin D when you're out in the sun. That means when you go out in the sun, but you're taking a statin drug, no vitamin D, because you have no cholesterol. Yeah? Same with testosterone. Cholesterol is the precursor to testosterone. So if they give you something to block cholesterol, guys, that means we need to understand the science of this. It's very simple. Yeah? Now what is inflammation? Inflammation, explained very simply. Inflammation is simply tissue damage. It can be internal or external. So inflammation is tissue damage. Now what happens when your tissue gets damaged? Well, this example is your skin. Now if your skin, over all of your skin, especially your scalp, you have something called the lipid barrier layer. It's what protects your scalp or your skin from bacteria, infections, fungus, all of that stuff, yeah? If you break the barrier, then guess what? All the bacteria can come in, all the inflammation, all the fungus and the infections. Your body responds by releasing white blood cells to go and eat the bacteria and to get rid of them. That is what inflammation is, yeah? Now, there's two types. You have acute inflammation. So this is acute inflammation. In other words, the tissue's damaged just a little bit, you've got white blood cells that come into the tissue and eat or get rid of the bacteria, and then they get out. Now the white blood cells, they release a very irritating chemical called histamine. Histamine is what causes all of our allergies, from asthma to skin rashes to eczema to hay fever. That is histamine. That's the release of these white blood cells releasing histamine. That's acute. That's supposed to go. This is chronic inflammation. That means the tissue is constantly getting damaged. The lipid barrier layer is constantly getting broken. So the white blood cells start to live there, releasing histamine and causing havoc. So this is chronic inflammation. This is acute inflammation. This is chronic inflammation. So what is it? What is it that's making us break our lipid barrier layer? What's causing us to break it on a regular basis? Well, look at this. This is, for the guys in here, for the two guys, I'm sure you've done a shape up before. Well, every time you get a shape up, you're breaking the lipid barrier layer. So you're creating this. Every time you get a shape up. Yeah? Any barbers in here? I don't want you guys to come for me after this. My business went down after your lecture. What are you talking about? Yeah? But this starts the process of a receding hairline because you're creating inflammation. Look at this. Look how sharp we do it. And that's why you start getting the bumps at the back, because you've broken the lipid barrier layer. Now all the inflammation, all the bacteria, fungus, all those infections that we get on a regular basis, it's because we keep on breaking the lipid barrier layer. When I was younger, I used to love my shape-ups. Yeah? And that's just with clippers. But what do? Look at it. Look how sharp it is. And to make it worse, we open up the lipid barrier layer, so we open up the hair follicle for bacteria, infections, and that sort of stuff. Then, you know, we've got to put the cancer-causing chemicals on the top, because we need the waves. You know, the ladies love the waves, so we need to get the waves in there, you know? So we're causing cancer, but hey, I look good. Look, I look good, yeah? At 40, I'm gonna have like prostate cancer, but hey, look at my shape up. Look at my shape up, yeah? And we go a step further. We don't even just use clippers. We use razors. So we're constantly causing inflammation on our scalp. Our scalp has no chance, and this is guys, women with the EDCs, the chemicals, your scalp has no chance. You're causing inflammation. Inflammation is what is leading to your fibroids. Inflammation is what is leading to cancers, breast cancer and all that sort of stuff. Because of this. And it's not just the men. What are we doing with our children? Boom. Child abuse. Look at that. You're literally creating inflammation from a young age. So, by the time they get to like, I don't know, 20, they start losing their hair. And then we wonder why. Look how sharp this is. Yeah? And then to make matters worse, again, the guys in here, some of the women as well, if you're taking your child to get a trim from the barber, what do they do at the end? What do they spray it with? Alcohol. So you've opened up the lipid barrier layer, the scalp is open to infections, and now let's spray it with alcohol. Remember, alcohol is yeast, you know. So you're spraying the scalp with fungus. Let me spray it. All right, ready? And every guy who's had that sprayed on them knows what it feels like. It's like they throw acid on you. That's why, look at the guy's face. Look at his face, he's ready for it. Like, you ready? Literally. And this is what we're doing to children. Look at this. Wow. How sharp it is. Child abuse. Look at how sharp it is. And then we wonder why in his 20s he's losing his head. Yeah? It looks good though, right? It looks good. Sometimes vanity and health butt heads. Depends how bad you want to look good. Yeah? And look at this guy. That's so cute. But check this out. I don't know if everyone can see this. You know his hairline starts by here, right? His hairline. You can see the dark shaded areas here. They took his hairline back an inch. Looks good though. But then you're going to wonder why
slide 19 talking about a receding hairline. Yeah? Now, what does inflammation cause? Cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease, joint pain, cancers. Look at this, cancer cannot grow without inflammation. So every time we're damaging our scalp, we're causing inflammation, and cancer says, yep, that's exactly what I need to survive. Inflammation. And remember, anything that ends in itis is inflammation. So that's prostatitis, arthritis, sinusitis, fibrocystitis, any itis is inflammation. Yeah, arthritis, all of that stuff, coming from the same place. This is why I created this course. You've all got this in your goodie bag, The Hidden Science of Black Holistic Health. It's a 5-week course, and this is where I break down the science, the true science behind melanin and all the other stuff that we've got on that course. We do have Hidden Science Academy members in here, so you can talk to them and ask them about their experience, but you need to know this stuff. Again, science is simple. Now, for everyone that came out today, I know it's been a long day, but I'm gonna give you a special offer. This course, you all know, you've got the flyer. This course is £197. Is that it? Exactly. However, for everyone who came today, I'm gonna give you a discount code if you book on within the next 24 hours. So you might want to take a picture or write down this discount code. This is the discount code. If you go onto Eventbrite, it's all on your flyer. You go onto the Eventbrite, you type in that discount code, and you will get the course for half price. 24 hours. 24 hours, you get the course for half price. All right, moving on. Before we finish. All right, so before we go, let's go over electricity. Does everyone know who this guy is? Yes. He said that the body is electric. But remember, science is logic backed up by evidence. So we can't just go by what people say, even if they're amazing, like Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi said the body is electric. Where's the evidence? Well, this is all from Google. An ECG test is a test which measures the electrical activity of your heart to show whether or not it's working normally. That's an ECG test. What about an EEG test? Related to electricity of the brain. So, they're showing you that you are electric. You are an electric being. Even here, now listen to this part carefully. This is where you show that you've been paying attention. This is from Bite Science. They're talking about electromagnets. When an electric current flows in a wire, it creates a magnetic field around the wire. By winding the wire into a coil, we can strengthen the magnetic field. Electromagnets are made from coils like this, you know, coils. If you can coil something, you can create an electromagnet. Okay. So how do you make an electromagnet stronger? Make an electromagnet stronger. We can make an electromagnet stronger by doing these things. Wrapping the coil around an iron core. Where have I heard that before? An iron core. Your blood has an iron core. Alright? Adding more turns to the coil. You know, more kinks to the coil. And increasing the current flowing through the coil. So, when we look at the different types of hairs, the one that matches what they're talking about the most is the coil. Yeah? And let's just dispel one of the myths when it comes to coily hair. A lot of us, black women, I don't know if black men think this way, but black women are like, oh, my hair's short. You know, I've got 4C type hair. My hair's so short. Okay, let's test that. Hold this, please. Just hold the end of that. Let's test how short your hair is. Just hold it. Hold it. Oh, your hair's quite short. Look at this. Look how short your hair is. Coiled hair is really short. Oh my gosh, that is short hair, everyone. You have short hair. Yeah? Coiled, short hair. Alright. Now, again, if what they're saying is true, if this is all true, and they're literally talking about coiling hair to create an electromagnet, you need evidence. Here's the evidence. Teenager invests £23 solar panel that could be solution to developing world's energy needs, made from human hair. This is the guy, 18-year-old Milan Karki, yeah? A new type of solar panel using human hair to provide the world with cheap green electricity, yeah? He goes on to say, he was originally inspired after reading a book by physicist Stephen Hawking which discussed ways of creating static energy from hair. He says, I realized that melanin was one of the factors in conversion of energy. Wow.
Hawking said that.
No, Karki, the 18-year-old guy who made this guy here, Karki, Milan Karki, he created a solar panel using black hair, yeah? He goes on to say, Karki points to the porous quality of the cortex of human hair and told Gislett that when pre-soaked in organic salts, the electrons flow through the hair assisted by conductivity of the salt. Electrons flowing, we know that's electricity. Numerous tests with varying colors of hair showed black hair to be the best promoter of those electrons. He attributes this to the higher levels of pigment found in dark hair. So we've got someone who's using melanin, eumelanin, black, dark hair to create solar panels. Free energy. Man. He goes on to say melanin does indeed have electrical properties. There's the evidence. Yeah? Melanin has electrical properties. Wait a minute. That would then mean the more melanin you have, the more electricity. Is that true? Well, let's remind ourselves what the scientists said. What did the scientists say? Well, Dr. Timothy Moore said it can absorb and convert various forms of electromagnetic energy. Dr. Carl Merritt agreed. He said it absorbs thousands of times more electromagnetic radiation than chlorophyll. It exists in many tissues besides the skin. And Dr. Richard King said it's found throughout the entire body, including the brain. And lastly, Dr. William Montagna said it could absorb light and convert it into electrons. That's what the scientists say about melanin. Now again, if this is the truth, that more melanin equals more electricity, that means melanated people would be walking around you know, if that is true, if it's true, then people will start looking at you as like a, you know, a superhero. You'd be like, super electric. Super electric. Wow. So, melanin equals more electricity. That's interesting. Okay, here's my next event. The hidden science of black holistic health in Black Panther. We delve deep into this film. So this is what we're going to cover. Many who have seen the film are unaware of the black holistic health subliminal messages in the movie. In this eye-opening presentation, we will reveal some of the hidden truths of melanin, black biology, chemistry, nutrition, and spiritual alignment that the film touches on. This event is not to be missed. And again, this is in 2 weeks' time. Now, for those of you who have stayed to the end, thank you very much. I am going to give you another discount offer. Now, the tickets are £10, but if you book today, I will give you this discount code, and you get the tickets for £5. You have to go to Eventbrite and type in that discount code. It's only for the next 24 hours for £5. Yeah? Now, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. We still have time to patronize the stores. We have to be out of here by 8. If you have any questions, please stay behind. I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks very much.
Round it, we say 10-9 Warrior. It's myself, Shakara, right here at the Science of Black Hair, Kings and Queens. And I am here with the man himself, the founder of the Hidden Science Academy. He goes by the name of Leon Marshall. Greetings, Leon Marshall. How you doing, my brother? It's a pleasure to be here, you know. And as I was saying, first of all, thank you. Very good event. Very well executed. You've put together a very unique and diverse set of panel, yeah, to deal with what might be considered an over talked about topic, yeah, you know, in our community, but often not spoken about in the best kinds of ways or the most productive ways that really serve us. And you've put together an event where we can do that. So I give thanks. Everybody felt comfortable and willing to engage. So you've achieved something today. What is it that made you want to put on this event?
Do you know what it is? I run a course called The Hidden Science of Black Holistic Health. And when people complete that course, I tell them there's going to be a level 2. But I ask them for feedback, like, what do you want me to talk about on level 2? So they give me ideas, and what kept on popping up was, you got to do a module on black hair. You have to do a module on black hair. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was like, definitely. But before that, let me do an event on black hair. Do you get what I'm saying? Just to make everyone kind of be aware of what they're not teaching us about our own hair. You see what I'm saying? And with regards to science, they teach us science in such a confusing way that we don't want to learn it. We get to a point where we're like, no, I don't like science. But I tell everyone this all the time. You are science. When I teach science, I'm teaching you about you. Biology, chemistry, physics. That's all what your body does. Do you get what I'm saying? So my thing was to put on an event, make it as simplified as possible, but talk about our hair and what they don't tell us about our own hair. Yeah.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. I mean, what kind of thought process did it went into the speakers that you picked, and you know what they spoke on? Because it was, like I said, it was very, nobody like kind of duplicated what the other person was saying. You know what I mean? So how did you? What was the science behind that?
Well, Leah was my first choice. Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach. I knew I had to have her because when I see her post online, I'm like, yeah. She knows what she's talking about. She'll be the perfect host. And then she gave me ideas on people who are in the industry, because I'm not in the black hair industry. Do you get what I'm saying? So
if you couldn't tell, Kings and Queens, it's not really in the black hair industry. You know what I mean? If you can't tell, you know.
So she gave me ideas of people who I can kind of look up. So the people who I looked up, I wanted to make sure they were on a holistic sort of path as well, because that's what I'm teaching, holistic health. So I wanted to make sure I included people who are on that holistic path as well. So you can't be talking about, you know, weave and all that sort of stuff if you're not on the right path. Do you see what I'm saying? So Leah helped me with the choice of people, but I did my own research as well.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, and this is obviously taking place as a part of a bigger vision. It's not, we're not just dealing with hair here. This is the Hidden Science Academy, yeah. And so we're dealing with health and science as it relates to us in general, yeah. So let's give our viewers an idea of what is going on with the Hidden Science Academy and where is it going? What are you doing and where is it going?
Well, the Hidden Science Academy is going to be a members-only web portal. All right. So the only way you can become a member is if you complete one of our courses. You complete the course, you instantly become a member. And the first year will be free. So that means all the content on the site, you'll be able to just watch it just as being a member. But then it will be a small fee, like a membership subscription sort of thing. Now there'll be levels to it. So there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. And each level will just allow you more content. So for example, this event now is going to be content on the Hidden Science Academy website for members only. So the thing is, what I'm teaching, what we're trying to do with the Hidden Science Academy is try to decode what they're trying to confuse us with. So if we put it all out there, they'll just, you know, try and change it around and say that we're lying and all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to decode the language that's out there to ensure that we all start to understand science, because that is the way you rule the world, you know. You rule science.
Yes. Well, let them know where they can find out more information about the Hidden Science Academy.
So you go to www.thehiddenscienceacademy.com. There's an online form there. You just put your details in the online form. You'll be added to our mailing list. You'll find out about all of our events, all of our future courses. Get onto one of our courses and become a member.
And you know, Kings and Queens, Got Kush TV is all about the group economics. So it's important that we let you know that we are not just covering this event, we are partners in the event. We have teamed up with the Hidden Science Academy, Kings and Queens. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. And we want to make you know that, just so you know, that there are people in our community, institutions in our community working together. Hidden Science Academy, Got Kush TV, and you ain't got nothing if you ain't got Kush.